it.
Hello out there, and thanks for joining us on Political Platform. This is a Thursday, and we are glad you are there as always to pick up all the reports we have for you. For those listening to us on radio, wherever you are, whether on the 9th through the Repower app, we are glad you are there anywhere in the world you are listening to us. But we also want to thank those who are listening to us on AIT, Abuja, and then anywhere you are, you can also listen to us in case you missed it on radio. You are going on the road, you couldn't access it. You can access our YouTube channel, AIT Political Platform. On our YouTube channel, you can get all the pictures and the discussions just the way they are. And we want to thank you always for also sharing your views, responding to our call for opinion through politicalplatform@yahoo.com. We always have the opportunity to share them, and we are always glad to do so. I'm Okiri Agbonsu Remy, and we have a follow-up on all the events that are happening. We just pick one and analyze. The director at the Independent National Electoral Commission in charge of voter education, Osaze Oluwole Uzi, is joining us. Oluwole Osaze Uzi is joining us to tell us the processes that the Independent National Electoral Commission, the guidelines the INEC has set out for a recall of an elected representative, be it a senator, be it a House of Rep member or a House of Assembly member. A guideline was issued some time ago, and that guideline is what has been, what appears to be the guideline the people in Kogi West Senatorial District has have been following to get their Senator Dino Melaye record. Yesterday, 4 or 5 bags of containing documents, signatories from over 50% of those whose names are on the register in that constituency were forwarded, carried in bags to the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters. We'll be on this program today, be telling you what steps to be taken within 90 days that is allowed by the law for the process to be concluded, including a referendum, which means there will be voting if INEC is satisfied that the number has been met for those who signed the document after verification. The process will take you through it one after the other, so at the end of the day, you understand what is going on with Dino Melaye. We also tell you the other side of Dino Melaye. We've tried to reach him to ask for his comments, but if we can't get him, we'll tell you what he told us yesterday in reaction to the submission of the documents. My colleagues are here, Dr. Amechi Anakwe. Amechi, welcome to the program.
Hello and welcome.
I also have Ijoma Osamo on the program. Our eyes are the Independent National Electoral Commission. This is a new job for her. I don't think you have covered the referendum before.
No,
referendum for a recall or a recall process.
No, I think I was opportune to have experienced what happened yesterday because all through that I've been covering Nigerian elections and politics, they've not been this level of people trying to recall one of their representatives. So that yesterday when I saw them and the manner at which they spoke, it's like there's truth in what they're saying. But when you listen to the man who is being called to be recalled, that's Dino Melaye. You just
he dismissed it actually.
Yes,
they were just wasting their time. Yes. And Mustafa Mohammed is also writing here. Mustafa, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
The stories around Mustafa, just before we take our message, the stories around Nigeria about the activities of Fulani herdsmen, whether in Benue, whether in Ekpoma, Edo State, and the latest we are hearing from Taraba is disturbing.
It's actually disturbing, the stories coming out, but we are actually expecting the political leaders from Taraba, especially the Mambila side, to come up and tell Nigerians what exactly is going on, because the stories of alleged killings are not encouraging.
No, they are not palatable at all. We are not very clear of what is actually happening. On the one hand, there are those who are protesting in support of the anti-grazing, open grazing bill. They don't want just like what happened in Benue State. Now there are those who are asking their government to come up with a law to ban open grazing. On the other hand, a very simple court case between some individuals over a dispute is believed to have led to the killings of some persons. Some say they are Fulanis that were killed by some persons in Taraba. Like Mustafa said, we'll get all the facts, and the political leaders who should call everybody to order to come on the program to tell us. But generally speaking, it's one that is disturbing. Modibo, our guest yesterday, Ibrahim Modibo, said that the police, the DSS, and other security agencies have not been able to get people, Nigerians, to understand why the Fulanis are carrying AK-47, and that those carrying AK-47s are not the Fulani that we know. And if they are not the one that we know, who are those who are carrying the AK-47? One of our writers have said we allow Modibo to go scot-free with Blue Monday yesterday.
Yeah, some people immediately called saying even those that were arrested allegedly invaded Olufalaye's farms were caught with firearms and Fulanis. But beyond that, Ohira is another landmine. Beyond the ethnic tensions in Nigeria, the herdsmen farmers crisis is one we must move immediately to resolve. Now, states of the Federation are enacting laws banning open grazing. Ekiti took the leeway. Benue State followed. Edo is talking about it. It's contemplating it. That was the major discussion in the House of Assembly yesterday. And Taraba has already submitted a bill to the National Assembly. And very soon, who knows, Nasarawa. And these are middle belt 10 states where you have flat land. Headers being forced to move away from the far north because of the desert encroachment and population activities coming down to the middle belt, and the clash is always happening on daily basis. It's one, just as the acting president is talking about how to douse ethnic tension, he must also begin now to do a lot of action towards resolving those issues.
Okay, let's go to our mailbox, political platform at yahoo.com. That's the most beautiful part of the program, where we allow you to tell us what you feel about the events around Nigeria and your opinion. We're always glad if after your criticisms, you can tell us the way out. That is, come with whatever suggestions you have as a way of giving the way forward on how to solve a problem you have identified. Let's see who is talking to us this morning.
Hello and welcome to the mail segment. I'm Usaitin Yari. We have a harvest of reactions to yesterday's analysis, and we begin. Stephen in Abuja says, permit me to comment on the interview with the Minister of Budget and National Planning. Firstly, Ohiria, you talked a lot about restructuring. I expected you would use that interview to press home this reality than playing to the gallery and allowing the minister to deceive Nigerians. Secondly, please, what country was the minister referring to? I know it's not Nigeria. He says 70% of the budget, amounting to 1.2 trillion naira, was released in 2016. Where was the money spent? Definitely not on roads and schools or hospitals, seeing the president is still on medicals abroad. The federal staff till date get their salaries in the new month. Construction companies have laid off half their workforce, and the remaining half are redundant. Lastly, the blatant failure of this administration cannot be padded in finesse. Please, Ohiria, when next you interview the ministers, let them know that there is a gross difference between charts and reality. God bless Nigeria. Away from that, Louis in Abuja says, I listened with keen interest to your guest, Mr. Ibrahim Modibo, as he analyzed the Nigerian political situation and way forward. However, one cannot help but wonder his blanket remarks on only the good side of the Fulani people in general, to the point of vouching for the entire Fulanese, thus downplaying the obvious menace of killer herdsmen in our society. Permit me to advise him, and by extension other ethnic nationalities, there is no tribe, race, religion or culture that can claim monopoly of good or evil. That's why we have law enforcement agencies in place. We should learn to approach the issues of national discourse with less bias in order to clear our minds for more fruitful solutions rather than shifting blame. I wonder why the crew failed to point out to him that there are a few suspects already apprehended in the past were clearly of Fulani origin. For example, those that kidnapped Professor Melaye. May the Almighty God save Nigeria. More reactions. Richard Ubaka in Lagos says, before your guest speaks on behalf of the headsmen, I would like him to go back and read the interview published by The Punch on May 5, 2016, on May 5th, 2016, by the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. They said Fulani headsmen who have been allegedly involved in serial killings in various communities in the country killed their hosts in self-defense. Ohiria and the entire political platform crew know this, but you are being economical with the truth. Or it may be that you are looking for political appointments from government quarters and don't want to hurt anyone by saying the truth. And that's it on the mail segment today. Keep sending your mails to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
I thought that when the wife of the president came back, she told everybody, thanked everybody for their support, their prayers, and told us that her husband is responding to treatment very well. I thought that was what she told us. Do we have any reason to believe that Aisha Buhari, our first lady, traveled to the United Kingdom and didn't see her husband?
That was the position of some online news agencies that published such stories, that she went and was prevented from indeed seeing her husband. But of course, the presidency and the wife of the president reacted saying there was no truth in that report.
Okay, and apart from that, I think I get the message being passed on by our listener. When you leave a gap in information, you create room for people to manufacture anything that they want to manufacture, and the waiting public will just quickly be swallowing up whatever you have. I would naturally have expected, just like the APC when they were in opposition, championed that time, that if anything is happening to the president then, talking about the late Yaradua, that there should be weekly, if not daily, briefing for Nigerians what is happening to our president. For goodness sake, President Muhammadu Buhari is not just a Muhammadu Buhari of the husband of Aisha, is the president of Nigeria. And if anything is happening, if he's ill, we know we should not put him under pressure, but it will not be too much to ask the government to brief. If it's just once in a week or once in 2 weeks to say, this our president is undergoing so treatment. It's like that is why the Sahara reporters are coming up to tell you that the president is now impaired. He cannot talk anymore, and you give room for people to begin to take.
That was Lai Mohammed's prescription as National Publicity Secretary of the APC when Yaradua was in power. He challenged the then government to be giving Nigerians a weekly brief on the status of the health of the then president. And if you recall, the current president, who was in the opposition then, though the situation may be different, also asked the National Assembly to go ahead to impeach the late president as the surest way of resolving the problem. But like I said, we have different situations, and we may want to see it differently. But being our president, I think anybody that demands the information about the status of the presidency has every right to do so.
Well, I can tell you. Here, there's a very big public relation gap, very wide. You actually have news career news professionals appointed as spokesperson and information managers, including the information minister. If you look at the likes of Lai Mohammed, accomplished media professional, and of course Adeshina Garba Shehu, these are not public relations practitioners. Politicians in Nigeria usually mix up the two. The government, like we said, even at the inception of this administration, when they carry out this appointment, they really need public relations practitioners to fill in this gap. Just like you said, Muhammadu Buhari is no longer a presidential candidate in 2003, 2011, 2007. Is the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they owe Nigerians every right to know the status of the president's health, whether it's only on leave, whether he's being attended to medically, and what have you. But what we keep getting from these government officials is always defenses, or they fight back as people who insinuate because the right information is not there.
All right, let's leave it there. Let's go to, because of time, because we want to spend time on telling you what the meaning of recall is. We have joining us now the director in charge of voter education at the Independent National Electoral Commission, Oluwole Osaze-Ozi. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
I should let you know that he's a lawyer. Not just a lawyer, he was once the director in charge of legal matters at the Independent National Electoral Commission. He's been around. And one thing you can take away from him is that he tells you what his mind is holding. He doesn't hold back. So we don't expect at any time at all to find it difficult to get the facts from him. I have before me INEC guidelines on recall of legislators. And they said it's in exercise of the powers conferred on INEC by Section 4 of the Independent National Electoral Commission Act 1998 by the document I have in my hand. Now, because of the time, we just quickly summarize all of them, the processes, that there's a petition that is to be written, and that petition that is to be written will be arranged according to polling units, wards, local government, and constituency, and that petition must be accompanied with the signatures of those persons whose names must be on the voter register. Let Mr. Osaze-Ozi take it off from there.
Thank you very much. First of all, I think there's a need for a little background. Basically, you elect your representatives to spend a fixed term, usually 4 years. But there are certain things that may happen in between that period when you elected them and when the House stands dissolved. So basically, the Constitution, the root of this all is in the Constitution of the land. Section 69 deals with the National Assembly, while Section 110 deals with recall of State Assembly legislators. An important point to note is that it only applies to legislators, as you very well know. It doesn't apply to governors.
Governors can be impeached.
And president can
Is it the reverse in the United States of America?
Well,
the governors cannot be impeached, but they can be recalled.
Yes, but the Nigerian Constitution.
You remember Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah,
they
actually replaced the governor who was recalled. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the background to it, but it doesn't state all the procedures that have to be accompanied. It gives a framework, like every good constitution gives a framework that, look, citizens of a particular locality, people who voted you in, can recall that mandate if, in their opinion, they have lost confidence in you. You don't have to give any other reason. It doesn't have to say it's performing, it's not performing. If the people who elected you have lost confidence in you, then they can recall you. But there are stringent thresholds to be achieved before that. It's not a whimsical thing. It's not a slight thing you just take for granted. Because having given you a mandate for 4 years, it has to take something very serious. You have to have lost your popularity, your support of the people
for
who
the
sent
constituents
you,
to say
for the constituents to say no one to recall you. So basically, when they have lost confidence in you, the constitution allows them to recall you, and there's a process, a procedure for it, and that basically is this: they have to inform INEC who conducted the election that brought you to power. 50%, at least, more than 50%, more than half of the registered voters of that constituency have to present a petition.
Now, is INEC involved at this stage?
No.
You are not involved at this stage at all. At the point of collecting the signatures, you are not involved.
Not at all.
They don't need to tell you about it.
We don't know about it. Okay. Officially, we don't know about it. Okay. We get to know of it. The commission gets to know of it the first time when a petition is presented.
Like yesterday now, when they came yesterday.
As was done yesterday.
Now, what do you do with the documents? What happens from there?
Well, first of all, we receive those documents, of course, and then look at them. Now, we get out the voters register for that particular constituency or senatorial district. Now, what is the total number of registered voters in that constituency? Because it's important to note this. It's the total number of registered voters. So we compare prima facie on the face of it.
Unfortunately, it's not the total number of those who voted this.
No, it's not. It's not. It's the total number
because
of registered voters.
Dino got about 41,000 in the
Votes.
votes
To win that.
But now you need. Have you considered how many people are in that constituency?
I don't know the exact figure, but there are 380,000 thereabouts. Yes.
Okay.
So at least half of those people will now look at the number of signatories that we have.
It must be up to
half. If it's not to that threshold, that's the end of the matter. It dies there because they have not.
Now, what the next stage now is to determine whether it is up to half. What is the procedure to determine whether it's up to half? What do you do?
We look at the bags of signatures that they have brought.
Openly or secretly?
Well, we just look at them, and it's possible that if
because what I have here, sir,
Yes,
what I have here on the guidelines that you have is that the commission shall soon after the receipt of the petition, notify the member that is being recalled.
Yes.
Then issue a public notice or announcement stating the days, time, and location for cross-checking.
Yes, there are two things. There's cross-checking and verification. First of all, if two people bring a petition now, and I look at it and there are 100,000 people registered in that constituency, I don't bother. It's there, and I will inform them that, look, sorry, only two of you have not met that threshold.
So you have to first of all determine the number first before you even call for cross-checking.
We'll look at it, yes, and then we now go for verification. We go to the senatorial. We inform the legislator involved that, look, a petition has been presented for your recall, so that he knows what is going on officially from us, and thereafter we'll tell him that, look, we have crossed the first threshold. We are going for verification.
That the first threshold is that we have the total number on the ground that the total number appear to be up to 50%, but we want to do a verification.
Over 50%. 50% plus one.
Now, what's the process of verification? Because the petition came with signatures.
Correct.
How are you going to verify? Are you going to reach the voters personally, conduct oral interview? Are you going to match signature with signature if there is any in the
in other words, does the guidelines and the regulation require that you verify the signature of the individual, or just the names on the voter register that you verify?
The constitution does not is silent on this. So we provided guidelines for this, and we inform the legislator first of all that, look, we are going to your constituency or your senatorial district, and you are entitled to bring an agent or come in person or send an agent.
Yeah.
We also inform the petitioners. We have looked at this thing, and we publish information for the constituents to come out at designated centers. Usually, it can be the local government office of the commission or any designated centers. We state it. So we go there and cross-check. Of course, we cannot sit down and cross-check each and every one, but we encourage people to come and to say, look, we did this, we did that. So it is the summary of what we get from the field. We now decide, can it go to the next stage or not?
I thought that what you are cross-checking is the name Okiria Agbonsuremi in that constituency, and that my name, which appeared on the petition, is also in your voter register. Is that not all that you require?
Well, yes and no. Yes, we cross-check that, but some people have often come out. We've done this severally, maybe about 13, 14 times in the last 12, 13 years. And they come and say, look, I didn't sign this, I didn't do this.
Yeah, even though my name is there,
yes.
I was not the one that signed it.
If there's such a groundswell, then we know that there's a problem with that. But it's a verification stage, because if it crosses that verification, we have to test it to see whether it's actually.
But the ones you did in the past, did you do oral interview, or how did you carry out the verification?
We went to the constituencies and asked people to come out if they so desired, and when they came, we did oral interviews in some cases.
Essentially, those who will say, I didn't do, my name is not there.
If it's widespread, if I didn't sign. We've had cases or instances where you get very learned people, professors, medical doctors, thumb printing. And sometimes say, yes, I thumb printed. I didn't have time to sign.
Now, after you have done this and you are satisfied, because the law also says that whatever decision you take at this stage is binding on everybody, because you have ascertained by yourself that these either they are facts or they are not factual. But assuming that you assume that you get to the point that they are factual, what next? A referendum?
We'll now conduct a referendum within 90 days from yesterday for this particular case, but generally 90 days of the day of presentation of the petition. That's what the Constitution says. Is
the referendum just like the laws governing this referendum? They are the same laws governing election?
They are basically the same
but
laws.
But it's a yes or no.
But it's just a yes.
It's a yes.
That's simple majority.
No, it's not. It's not quite. So when you say simple majority, that may be misleading. Now, at the referendum, we ask everybody to come, fix a date, ask everybody to come out, and the petitioners must get 50% +1 of the total number of registered voters.
In the vote? In the referendum?
Yes, sir, in the referendum. So they must score 50, not turnout, not majority of people who came out to vote.
But it's not simple majority of those who come out. It must be the number of those
registered,
at least registered voters.
Yes.
50% +1.
Yes, so over 50%, over half. You must score that.
Okay, I thought
so even if the majority of people who turned out to vote, even if it's 90% to 10%, and they don't score half of they're not more than half of the rest of the yes votes, it's not more than half of the total number of registered voters, that recall referendum has failed.
I think the point is that if you have enough time to put your name on the vote on the petition, you should also have some time to come out and vote. So if you are not coming out, it means there's something that is wrong. Then after the vote, assuming if the vote is obviously lower, you just it ends there. But if it's higher, what happens?
If it's higher, then we come back to the office and the chairman of the commission will now issue a certificate saying Mr. X or Chief Y has been recalled, and issue it to the presiding officer, the Senate President in this case, or the Speaker of the House of Assembly.
And he ceases to represent his people.
He issues that certificate. That's where the commission's work ends, and he should vacate that seat, and then a new by-election will have to be conducted.
Now, there's the other big question I was asked just now. So we were talking about this in the office before we came up. If Dino Melaye, for instance, goes to court this morning to stop this process, is there any window? Because if he stops the process, the 90 days is already counting from yesterday. He can go to court to say his rights are being infringed and that the court should look into his rights being infringed, a fundamental right. And the court say, stop this process, INEC, until I determine what is happening. Will the days continue to count, or what happens?
I will be circumspect
Thank God you are a lawyer.
about speaking specifically or speculating about this particular case.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that almost all, in fact, all that I'm aware of, the legislators have gone to court.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is that we have succeeded in conducting referendum in at least four that I recall. Definitely one in Abia, the House of Assembly. The current governor of Plateau State, Simon Alon, while he was speaker, and during the Dariye saga, there was an attempt to recall him. We conducted a referendum. He did go to court. He did obtain an injunction, but we were able to vacate the injunction and do that. Same thing
within 90
that's
days.
In the House of Reps within 90 days. The House of Reps, the same thing. We went to court. They initially got an order, but we vacated that order, and the referendum was conducted within 90 days. None of them succeeded, but that's not to say that it cannot succeed in other cases.
Well, we have a whole process to go, but it says did you? Because I want to quickly ask this against the background of the fact that, like Ejoma will always remind us, that the Independent National Electoral Commission have challenged with funding. Now, this is a different thing altogether.
Both verification and by-election, you do it with funds.
The referendum, this is like an election.
Yes, correct.
How have you surmounted this unexpected budget subhead?
When you budget, there are certain things you budget for. There are eventualities you budget for. For example, we budget for by-elections. Yeah. We budget for referendum. There are budget heads in the basket. So we have funds to go through with the process.
We have to wrap it up. Now, I want to thank you so much, Oluwole Usazeuzi, the director in charge of voter education at the Independent National Voter Education and Publicity at the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters in Abuja here. Thank you so much for being with us. My name is Okiri Agbonsuremi. Let's do it again tomorrow when we come back. Political platform at yahoo.com. The route to reach us. Please drop a note for us.
Bust it.